Episode 184. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We have Green Lantern with the end of the arc, and we have Dick Tracy with the beginning of an arc. Let's check them out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to jump right into Green Lantern by my buddy Jeremy Adams. In fact, I'm thinking about asking him to be on a live show one time. I don't know if you guys might be interested in having a little Q&A with him on a live show. But yeah, this is the end of this Green Lantern Civil Corps or something to that effect. Yeah, I got it right. Civil Corps. He's been writing this now for a while, and we've gotten a whole bunch of little elements here. So you had Theros that was destroying batteries, lantern batteries, and Oa and all this stuff so that he can combine everything into one power battery and feed off that. And, you know, I'm going to rule the world instead of the galaxy or wherever. I'm going to rule it all. So it's one of those. And meanwhile, we had Carol and Hal. This is probably the best part of what I think Jeremy did, because Carol and Hal has been estranged for a while, and now she was about to marry somebody else just to get away from him, and on top of that, she ended up getting the violet, I guess, the violet ring back to become a Star Sapphire. So I thought that was interesting. But meanwhile, we had Mogo. He was basically, which is a living planet, chasing them, and Kilowog was supposed to be dead. And all this other stuff. So it's been a whole lot to do here, and I'm kind of glad that he's wrapping this up because it got really, really convoluted real fast. And I'm kind of hoping the next arc is a little bit more streamlined. But all in all, it's been good. It's just been a little bit convoluted. So that's Theros right there saying, "I'm going to rule the world today." Like that. So you have pandemonium going on with all the lanterns and all this other stuff going on. In fact, Sinestro is a red lantern. I'm not sure how that's working yet, since he had another corps that was actually named after him. But that's him on the bottom. And Kyle Rayner has become a white lantern again. And he is fighting with Theros right now and not doing real well. And Theros is like, "You will come at me? Ha 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 ha! No, sir. You don't have the power to do that." And we have Kablam. Then you have Cruz being, I guess, strung up by a Kilowog who is being controlled, mind controlled at this point. He's not himself. And she's like, "Snap out of it! Snap out of it, Kilowog! It is me!" So he finally does snap out of it, and he's like, "What's going on? I didn't mean any of that. I didn't mean to call your mom all those names." And I really disliked when Jeff Johns made the interior of the ring sentient, like creatures. I really didn't like that, and this is continuing that kind of path where the creature is like, "But I love you. I love you, and I will give you all the power." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm not falling under your spell again." So I really didn't think that was needed at all. But anyway, so they're trying to, subdue Theros all together, and it's just not working. But then I think the Dark Star comes out. I lost track of the whole Dark Star thing, of how that was working. But there was like a shadow lantern I really liked. I thought that was really cool. And on top of that, the guy that was supposed to marry Carol, he was a soy boy. He's like, "Oh, she left me at the altar. I can't live anymore." And he became the new bearer of a sorrow ring. And I was kind of hoping that Jerry, will just forget about that because it didn't go over real well with the fans. Nobody I know likes that. But anyway, we have lots of explosions going on here. And, he's trying to make it feel as epic as possible. And I think they're trying to open up a wormhole and kind of throw him through it, which is what's happening there. But yeah, I think that's where the Dark Star comes through. But yeah, we have tentacles galore and all this stuff going on. He's just sitting there glowy. He's like, look how glowy I am. It's my afterglow. Oh yeah, there's where the Dark Star is, and they're all glowing over there. He's like, hey, poser! And so we have, which is kind of cool, we have Kilowog hit him in the back. Kind of knocks them off their game there. And it's cool that, Kilowog comes back after this. But I don't understand how everybody thought he was dead. We never really got to see much of that I understood it. But there's that black hole. And Kyle's like, I will shoot you through the black hole. Which he does, and it disappears. So they're just in this nebulous type of environment now and lost to everyone. And they're like, yay, it's time to party. Meanwhile, Carol is still having this bout, and she's like, you can take your power and shove it. And she's like, but I love you. And then we jump into the Sorrow thing. I don't know who this dude is, but he has a cool throne room. It's kind of like a Game of Thrones type of thing. And Sorrow lands, and he's like, I will help you, Mr. Sorrow. And we're like, oh, man, really? Really? So that's the end of that. Again, I'm kind of hoping that the next arc is a little bit more streamlined and a little bit less chaotic. I'd like to have just I know he has a lot of characters to deal with, but I think he made the big baddie here I know he's dealing with a galactic threat. But this guy was a little bit too out there because now they have to build all the batteries back. I'm not sure how this is all going to work out yet. Would it make a good film or television show? Maybe if it was a little more streamlined. I think there's just too many characters in there for him to be able to make a congruent type of film out of it where people could follow it if they weren't fans. All right, so we jump into Dick Tracy. I just want to remind everybody that I am a comic book writer myself, and my new book, Lords of L.A., is out. We're doing issue 2 right now. It is being fulfilled to my backer kit and Kickstarter supporters. And it's doing very well in the store. I have it just on consignment in one of the stores, and they're selling out of it all the time. So... and Destiny Aurora is getting picked up as well by Blood Moon. So you're actually going to be able to find that in the stores. But anyway, this was issue 1 of the story of Lena Morgan. She is a lounge singer in the 50s. Marilyn Monroe is also in it. And she is turned by one of the 2 mob bosses. She doesn't know which one. So after 60 years, so it is a little bit more adult. So after 60 years, she returns to enact her revenge. And I have a bunch of different covers. So there's the Katana cover. This is the Helene cover. And then I have the Samurai cover. And then we have 2 more covers with Helene fighting the Werepanther. So as soon as I get those in, I'll show you guys. But yeah, if you want a copy of that, I do sign them. Just make a comment in the comment below. And plus, we have Timothy Zahn, who is the creator of Thrawn for Star Wars. He and Kevin J. Anderson, Brandon Easton, who's written for Marvel, the Peggy Carter series. Matt Wagner, who does artwork for Batman and created Grendel. He's done the cover art for a new 50th anniversary Green Hornet anthology novel. It's going to be great. We're going to be launching that in January. Will be signed by some of the artists, and you can either go to greenhornetnoir.com or you can click in the description below. There's a link there to Kickstarter. It's a one-click thing, and you can follow it, and it will remind you about when we launch. All right, so let's jump into Dick Tracy. This is number 6 because the 5th one ended the arc, and it kind of really built the world up. Dick Tracy is, of course, a old cartoon strip that was in the newspaper. That was where he existed, and he had a two-way wrist radio, which now I guess they would call an iPhone watch or a Google watch. But they created that thing back in the 40s, 50s, and that's how long this character's been around. So it just goes to show you that comic or science fiction eventually becomes science fact, because again they created that decades ago, and now it's real. Pretty wild. But anyway, this is the story of a cop. He always wears yellow. It was originally made into a movie with Madonna and Warren Beatty. And now we have Tess Trueheart, whose father was killed in the last one, who is now kind of like a Lois Lane reporter. And then we have Pat Patton, I think his name is. He was coming to get revenge for his brother against some of the mob guys, and instead ends up becoming now Dick Tracy's partner in the police force. I really like that change. So anyway, we were finding out about this Lip Manless thing, and Flat Top was all in that, and we get a brand new villain here, which I really, really like. And I like how this is told. So this is told from this guy's point of view, and he's like, man, my next door neighbor always kind of keeps to himself and stuff like that, but I heard he was a doctor for the mob, but now his door is like ajar, and he's like, that never happens. So instead of telling this from the point of view of the doctor, it's told from this totally random guy who ends up just walking in the door and seeing this guy kill the doctor. And I guess because he can't have any witnesses, he kills this poor guy as well. So in 3 pages, we know exactly how this is all set up already, which is great. I think this is Segura, yeah. And this is written by Segura. So the artwork here is okay. I wish there was a better artist on this. The artist doesn't really know how to draw noses and nostrils. You could see that almost looks like a dog's nose in piece of it. He just doesn't get it. And it's always the tracks. I'm always looking at these people's nose going, that ain't right, man. But anyway, we got into this little lounge singer thing going on because they're about to approach the owner of the bar that's also a mobster. And they go to confront him. His name is Fangs. And I don't think he has fangs, but he may have fangs. And then you have Liz there as well, which is the female cop. And she's going to become a little bit more important later on. And Pat is always like ready to go, fisticuffs whenever he's like, put him up, I swear. So it's like the cowardly lion from Wizard of Oz. I'll beat you down. But anyway, then he's having dinner with Tess, so I guess he and Tess are now dating, except his mind is somewhere else, and she's like, I never get to spend any time with you, and your head is somewhere else, and he's like, I know, I'm sorry, but I have this other, case going on, etc. And the waiter comes over. This is before cell phones, of course. The waiter comes over and says, you both have a call to take? So, of course, in modern times, it would both be their phones ringing. Or them getting texts while on a date, which I guess happens quite a bit. So, get back to Liz. Liz gets a tip about, I guess, the new villain here. And meanwhile, one of the cops is kind of on the take, and he informs on her departure. Then you go back to Dick Tracy and Pat, who is looking at, I guess his name is Inky because he has a bunch of tattoos. He looks like an alien there, but he has a whole bunch of tattoos. And they're like, yeah, he got killed pretty badly, blah, blah, blah. And they talk about, how he was killed and that I think he was moved after he was dead or all this other stuff. But then he gets a call from Tess. And Tess is like, I'm in trouble. I'm getting, I went to go to a tip, but now I think I'm being followed. And he's like, well, stay right where you are. I'm coming. I mean, you ain't going to be able to teleport there, man. I hope you get there before the killer just, ends her. And which I wouldn't see in putting it past killing Tess. But anyway, she ends up seeing what's the villain whose name is the Blank, which I really like that. And he's like, you're only alive because I allow it. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. He basically slams her head against the wall. That's pretty nasty. So Dick Tracy shows up at just the right time. And she's like, are you okay? You okay? And then they hear a scream down the thing, and it's Liz. And she's like, look what he did to my face. So she's going to, I don't think there's really good plastic surgeons back at that time. So, and the guy that they were supposed to meet he's pretty dead. So yeah, good stuff. I really like this. I think this is stronger. I think it's a lot stronger than the last arc so far. I hope it stays as strong because the last one was really setting up the characters and their relationship with one another, and now we're getting to see, just getting into a good story hopefully. And we have a killer that's pretty nasty, and already has something personal going on with all of them. So I really like that. So I'm going to say yes so far, unless he screws it up. I hope he stays on track. But so far, I think that would make I'd go see it. And Green Lantern, though it has good stuff, I do not think this would make a good movie because it's so diluted with so many characters and so many little storylines going on. It would have to be way more streamlined to be a movie. So I'm hoping that his next arc, I don't know what that arc's going to be, and I really hope it's not Sorrow. No, not Sorrow. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching all the way through. I greatly appreciate it. Remember to give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. And if you can subscribe, please do. If it's your first time here, welcome. Hopefully you guys will like what I'm doing. And you can also click the link in the description below or go to greenhornetnoir.com to get checked out, to check out all of the stuff going on that we're going to be launching in January. It's going to be an awesome thing with Timothy Zahn and Kevin J. Anderson and all those guys. All right. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Have a great week and happy holidays. All right. Bye-bye, guys.